الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك صل على المؤمنين اللهم صل على محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وبارك وسلم. I started off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of all the worlds, and by sending peace and salutations and blessings on His beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is the Ashraful Anbiya, not just the Ashraful Makhluqat, but even the top of the prophets and messengers. So with that being said, this personality, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's our role model, and in order for us to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we must love Him. In order to love Allah, in order for Allah to love us, we need to follow in the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as you know, in the Quran it says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِ. It says قُلْ. So Allah is talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قُلْ. قُلْ, say. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ. Say that if you love Allah, okay? قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ. If you all love Allah, okay? فَاتَّبِعُونِ, okay? Which means follow me. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being told to say this, that follow me. Follow me. فَاتَّبِعُونِ يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Then, and only then, will Allah love you back. And then He will forgive your sins. Okay? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, okay, to follow His beloved, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? Allah loves him the most. That's why He's called Habibullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's called Habibullah. Okay? And the only way to get close to Allah, the only way to earn the pleasure of Allah, the only way for Allah to love you, if you claim to love Allah, then you must follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is Habibullah, Nabiullah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now people tell us, like, you know, we are supposed to, essentially, we're supposed to obsess over Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're supposed to, he's the role model for us, right? It's not like, you know, I mean, the thing is, we are supposed to be obsessed with him. We're supposed to read about him, his seerah, the way he did things, right? And people will say, well, these guys are obsessed. Guess what? The Sahaba were like this too, right? Because there was somebody who said something like, we've never seen a king treated in such a manner that when they would see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they would see the Sahaba and the way they would, just gather around him, just to seek all the, like when he would make wudu, the water would drip out, the drops would come, and it's known that they would put their hands out like this, collect the water and put it on their faces. And they would just always sit, and they would always be asking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell us more. And so this is something that we must do as well. We have to make time to do this as well. This is something we just gotta sacrifice. There's a sort of phrase in Urdu they say, Qurban jao on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what it is, right? But we gotta put that into practice. We gotta basically toss out everything else, okay? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the one who's been given the guidance for us to follow. On him was revealed the Quran. Right? And the hadith, the laws of Islam, they come from his saying. They come from the way he behaved and his manners and all that. We get it from him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So this is something we need to just find time for. This is, first and foremost, this is something I'm basically talking to myself right now as well. We got to just find time to sort of research, come to the masjid more often, sit with people who know, then we'll be inspired more. Because if we don't research, then we won't really know. Then someone could say something, such and such thing about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we don't know. We don't know what they're talking about or anything. But if you read about them, if you sit with the ulama, if you come to the masjid, then you will be able to acquire that knowledge. Then here's the thing. How will you love someone you don't really know much about? Study him, you will start to love him. Right? And when you start to love him, you're going to then say, you know what, I'm going to follow in the footsteps, because that's what the Quran says. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ. So, in order to gain Allah's pleasure, in order for you to be loved by Allah, you gotta follow Habibullah. Right? You gotta obsess over what he was doing and just say, nah, I gotta do it this way. The way Rasulullah did it. You washing whatever. Now I want to know how Rasulullah did it. What he said before that. Just everyday tasks. Right? So that's the khair, inshallah. So now the thing is, we just have a couple of minutes, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain. So I'm going to give you time to read your sunnah. And then there will be adhan, and then we'll have the Arabic khutbah, but most of you don't actually probably know Arabic. So I'm just going to give like a little bit of a sort of outline as to what I'm going to be talking about in Arabic. Okay, so after the khutbah, and inshallah we will all try to just sort of learn Arabic as much as possible. That's a good thing, because Rasulullah was Arabic. That's another thing. People, out of the love of Rasulullah, they'll just learn the language of the Quran. But inshallah, so I mean, before you pray your sunnah as well, inshallah. So the first part is, again, I'm praising Allah. Okay, I'm talking about how we ask Allah for help and for forgiveness, and we believe in Allah, and we rely and trust on Allah, and we seek refuge in Allah from any evil and misdeeds from ourselves. And we ask, and we basically say that whoever is guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then nobody can misguide them, and whoever is misguided by Allah, nobody can guide them. Okay, and then we testify that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our master, our beloved, okay, and the beloved of our Lord, right? Um, and of course the beloved in general of us and our Lord, and our warner, our sort of good news giver, glad tidings, um, the light for us, and the worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we also we quote an ayat of the Quran which says, if you remember Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remember you. And it says that be grateful to Allah and do not be ungrateful to Allah. Right? And then after that, again, so then it talks, and then I quote some hadith as well. I say, okay, that Rasulullah said, the best amongst you are the ones who learn the Quran and teach it. Then I talk about, I quote another ayah from the Quran, which is that ayah of Durood Sharif. Basically, it's in Surah Al-Ahzab. It says that indeed Allah and His angels send Durood, salutations, on the Prophet ﷺ. So it's commanding us as believers that those who, you who believe, send salutations and salam on Rasulullah ﷺ. And then I close off the first part, then I have a seat, and then I begin the second part. Again, I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then I send salutations on Rasulullah ﷺ. Again, I recite the ayah of Durood, and then I would recite a Durood, and then I would quote another hadith, and this is about Rasulullah ﷺ praising the Khulafa al-Rashidin and the Ahl al-Bayt. So it talks about how Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was, it talks about Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, it talks about Umar and Uthman and Ali. Then it talks about Fatima and how she's the leader of women in paradise. And then about the two, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, and how they're the leaders of the youth in paradise. And Hamza, radiallahu anhu. And then at the end I quote the ayah of the Quran again, another ayah, which is basically talking about how Allah commands good, how Allah wants you to do good, and to be good to your relatives, and forbids like evil and bad things. And then I end it with, I basically then tell you guys to stand up. So now you can pray your sunnah, inshallah.